And so we're going to go over ergonomics, a guide to a healthy and safe workplace. So that's the intent today, that you optimize your workspace so that you are actually healthier by the end of the day and not rounded, shoulder, and lower energy and actually potentially hurting yourself and causing long-term pain issues. So, all right, so on today's agenda, what are ergonomics? Hopefully you've done some sort of a ergonomic program that your desk is chair and computer and monitors and screens and all the things that you do on an everyday basis is more optimized to your body so that we don't have musculoskeletal disorders or issues with the body. We're going to talk about lifting or sitting, standing, and lifting and how to do those properly, what proper workspace setup looks like and desk stretches. That's where we're going to get some crowd participation. So be ready, roll up your sleeves now. I'll roll them up when it's time, but we're going to actually move and stretch and you'll feel better literally through just taking like 30 seconds and doing some of these things. So what are ergonomics from the get-go? Well, Occupational Safety and Health Organization, OSHA, it's a simple study of work. Okay, it's how your body is physically in the space of where you do work, and make sure that your equipment, the positioning, everything's set to fit your body's work environment. So there's a design process that goes into this. There's how many chairs have we seen on the market that go through better design to be more comfier, have proper back support? I'm a big lumbar support fan. Whenever I go places or even sitting in my couch, I always find a pillow and stuff it behind my low back because it literally just feels better. Or if I'm in my Honda Odyssey, I have dual Odysseys. I'm 40. I've got 4 kids. Been married for almost 17 years now. And so we have the Odyssey and it's got the lumbar support. So I make sure that thing is maxed out because it really fills in and supports my low back, making drive time to and fro school and after school activity, which can be a lot. Today I have to make 3 separate trips to my children's middle school. That's about 15, 17 minutes away. So do the math there. It's a lot of driving. So now by adapting to work to fit the worker, ergonomics help reduce the risk of musculoskeletal disorders, MSDs. We'll be going over those as we go. Why is this important? Most people are doing really highly repetitive work, from obviously the typing, or if we have more of a shift worker or someone that's in a manufacturing spot, they're lifting and they're moving and bending in very similar patterns of behavior and movement. And that's going to cause a high level of repetition that can ultimately cause some sort of injury. So frequent carrying, lifting, pushing, pulling loads without help of others or devices or proper form is going to cause risk of injury to go up. Increasing specialization that requires the worker to perform only one function for a long time. So think of even a surgeon. They're standing for a 5-hour surgery working in this tiny slot cut into the person's body to help them, heart replacement transplant or whatever. They'll be glued in and they're just like this the whole time working. And that in and of itself, even a high level job like performing surgery, has a lot of ergonomic issues that can there. When you're working more than 8-hour days, who doesn't work more than 8-hour days? I'm actually standing right now. I've got my desk on a table, on a stool, and I have 2 of the table chairs so I can put my foot on each way. So I love standing. I would not sit. If I was in a work environment, I would not be able to sit. It's just, I don't like it. I don't feel good after doing it for long periods of time, especially if I'm working 8 hours or something. This is not going to work for me. So I would be like, hey, I need a stand-up desk. Pronto, please. Or you might see me stealing the leftover Amazon boxes and stacking them up to put my laptop on and do work that way too. That's Brian, just standing, working off cardboard boxes. It's just how he does it. So, also, when we work at a quick pace at work or assembly line and there's a fast production that has to happen, that can cause issues with ergonomics and body safety because you can get sloppy and not be able to function perfect repetitions for hours a day. Having tighter grips. So when using tools, I literally had a guy that his business was polishing floors of grocery stores at night. So he'd have like a dozen of them that his crew would do in the after hours. So he would have to man the polisher, and he had numbness in his arms and forearms and hands, and he losing grip strength because he was holding on and that thing is vibrating and he's constantly juggling. So years of doing that has caused a lot of numbness and pain and tightness and just not really good things for his forearms. And he actually had to wear supportive wrist supports and stuff. So it was pretty wild to see. So, all right. What are musculoskeletal disorders? So MSD, of course, injuries, soft tissue like muscles, tendons, ligaments, joints, cartilage, nervous system are the things that we're going to find a lot of pain coming from. And of course, anything. I have 2 clients right now that had wrist surgery on not one, but both their wrists because of carpal tunnel issues. And in the post after, we've been dealing with that and how to address their ergonomic issues and how to have support for their wrists so that they can function properly and do their everyday tasks, but also do some form of activity, strength training and whatnot that's not affecting their wrists and causing lots of pain. So, of course, we got the arms, the back, the hands, fingers, anything from like the waist up are at high levels. So also think of like your knee or the ankle. If you're sitting at a 90-degree bend for years on end in a chair, you're getting slowly over time getting decreased range of motion that when you go to actually do something like, hey, I sat for 40, 50 hours or 60 hours all week long at work, and then I sat at home too because I was tired. Then you get it's starting to be spring and you get your springtime cleaning, and what happens? You go out there and you overdo it because your body is definitely not conditioned to move or be on the hands and the knees and digging and pulling and pushing and all that stuff. You're going to be pretty sore and potential risk of injury. Next thing you know, you'll be with ice bags all over you and taking lots of ibuprofen to try and numb the pain and dull it and take that inflammation out. Now, risk factors. So we'll just go through a couple of these, but force, high repetitions, being in weird positions. So if you have something like I cut my children's hair because the first time I ever went to get my kid's haircut back when he was like 2, I'm like, that person did as good of a job as I did. Why am I paying like $20 for my 2-year-old to get a haircut? So the oldest is 13 now. So the last baker's dozen, I've been working on cutting their hair, and this, oh my gosh, my shoulder, I gotta like constantly roll out my shoulder because my elbow's up to try and clear their head. I have them in a low chair and stuff, but still, and I'm like positioning and weird to make sure that they got the nice fade and that their hair's even, and it looks like they went to a stylist instead of their dad cutting their hair once a month or once every other month. So awkward positions can definitely cause some issues. That's one reason why I'm also shifting back and forth. One leg goes up, I stand, other leg. So I'm constantly moving my body through range of motion, and it's not just static, which is what the next thing is, static postures. If you're doing any type of sudden motion, most say desk jobs aren't going to have a lot of sudden motion unless maybe something falls off the desk and you go to reach, but that's not usually a case unless it's in some other, maybe manufacturing or something. Compression, vibration, we talked about the vibration, cold temperatures can cause issues. So when you go up, I know that for me, when I walk and talk with my phone, I work a lot from my phone because I have clients all over. And so I'll be outside walking to get movement and activity, but my hands, this one has a glove, this one doesn't, so I can text and take notes and stuff when I'm talking to people. And this hand, if it's like 20 degrees out, will freeze and be very cold. So even at 30 degrees, it only lasts so long before the cold temperatures really cause just pain and not a lot of discomfort. Now, common MSDs are rotator cuff, trigger fingers. I've had to deal with that a little bit myself. Trigger fingers, like when you overly pull something. So if you think about overly clicking a mouse or clicking your keyboard tracker or whatnot, the trigger finger, it'll want to kind of get like this and it's really resistant to stretching and elongating. It causes a lot of problems. Of course, we know strains and tight necks and muscle cramps and knots and low back and carpal tunnel is going to be a lot if you do at high risk if you do a lot of computer work. Tendonitis, if you see anyone with the elbow thing going on, that definitely causes, or you could get knee tendonitis from just sitting so long for many years, not stretching your quads and your hamstrings, your legs, or doing any type of full range squats. So tendonitis is going to creep in and cause a lot of problems when you try to go do spring cleaning and get out in the backyard or something to start cleaning up and getting ready for the summer. Herniated discs happen as well. So what is the impact on these MSDs? Well, a median of 8 days of work compared to 6 for other illnesses or issues or injuries. So if you get a common cold, you're going to be out like a day or two, maybe 3. If you get COVID, you're out for 5 days. But if you have a pulled neck or a strain or surgery, like you're going to be out for longer than a week. Potentially, and that can cause a lot of lack of production. I talked a lot about production on my last webinar, and production is quality and quantity in this blend of making sure that you're getting the most out of the time, the energy, the resources that you have to be highly productive. Now, if people, you'll see it as we drive through like manufacturing districts, it'd be like this many days since the last injury. Well, that's the higher the number, the more they've spent a lot of time in scientific studies and applications and solutions to create solutions for their highly repetitive movement. But if the companies has to plan for this and part of their insurance and disabilities and such, it says 54 billion lost wages, compensation, and lost productivity. That's a significant amount of effort, money that needs to be produced by the company in and of itself to cover these costs across our nation. On average, it takes 25 days to recover from carpal tunnel syndrome. There's a lot of inflammation that builds up in here, and carpal tunnel is all the squeezers, the flexors is what they're called, are tendons, the fingers connected tendons, the muscles, and they go through this area, and this is the carpal tunnel. And when this gets really inflamed, or like you're resting on it constantly, so if you put your hand on the desk and constantly flexing and typing, this compression here will cause issues. Then it'll cause more overuse and it'll cause inflammation. And then the inflammation will start to squeeze and narrow the tunnel at which your finger tendons go through. And it just really gets hot and inflamed, and it really doesn't do wonders for you at all. So that's something that you want to be paying attention to have your hand positions in different, they have all sorts of keyboard stuff and whatnot so that you aren't putting a lot of pressure there. So 25 days, yes, it does take a while for inflammation to reduce. It's more than a day or two with some ice, especially if it's built up over time. Workers with severe injuries can face permanent disability that prevents them from returning to their jobs or handling simple everyday tasks. You don't want to get hurt at work, then that it just completely rearranges your lifestyle. That's not fun. Like, I pulled my back at work, now I can't do anything. Like spring cleaning gets put off onto your spouse or the kids, and it just doesn't get done, and you're not that excited about your front yard anymore. And I'm being silly here, but that's how it can start to evolve. Now, benefits of ergonomics. So, of course, we're going to decrease injury, increase productivity, decrease mistakes, increase efficiency, decrease lost work days, decrease turnover, and improve morale. If no one's getting hurt, especially in like a manufacturing job, your morale in and of itself is going to be boosted, because if you go into work and that this many days before or since the last injury is under a week all the time, like, wow, this is a risky place to work. And you're just getting reinforced every time that you show up into work. Like, wow, we are almost to 8 days. Now it's back to 0. Who got hurt this time? And how long are they out? And how much more work do I have to do to compensate for that? Same thing within like any type of a desk job situation as well. If someone goes down because carpal tunnel or an illness or an injury, someone else in the office has got to pick up the slack. So all of a sudden a heavier workload, more pressure, more stress, more work period. And it's just not great for company morale. Sitting, standing, lifting. So here we go. Here's some really good visual things. So if you can quickly pause, freeze, don't move, assess. Are you more like the person with the green check marks? Are you more like the person in the red? I'd love to see in the chat or the question there if you could just say, hey, I'm green or I'm red. I'd love to see, like I said, I love engagement. This is a great time for the 6 of you to jump in and participate with me. Do you throw me some bones here for doing this? So tell me, which one are you more likely most of the time, or even right now in this second that I caught you? There we go. Q&A getting lit up. Are we green or are we red? Red. Uh-oh. So we know she's getting upright and taller and focusing on that ergonomic position up. We got another red. I will say 50-50. Okay. I'll say that I'm notorious for like slouching back in my school days and whatnot. Being in this standing position right now, it's hard to slouch. Like this feels, if I'm not standing like this feels uncomfortable. Like it's actually literally more work for me to support my body here than just standing upright. All right. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. We'll check in some more on that as we go. For the other people want to jump in too, feel free to post it. So certainly make the initial things. The easiest way to correct this is you're going to take the string that's in the top of your middle of your head, like you're like a puppet, and you're just going to pull that straight up. All of a sudden, that solves a lot of things. I don't have to say anything other than grab that string above your head, pull it tall, and you're going to sit upright and get more toward green instantly. So that's a really good way that, maybe in your workday that you guys can be like, let's go like this. And the person will know exactly what you're talking about because they participated in this. And you're going to be like, hey, you're slouching. I caught you. Let's do better in a fun way and not get hurt, because I ultimately don't want to have to do your work when you have a MSD and you can't work for 2 days because your back's sore or something. So researchers found that many of us spend 10 hours a day sitting. Think about it. If you get up from a lying position, you get breakfast, you wander around, but then you sit to go to the bathroom, you sit in your car to go to work or at home, and then you sit all day at the work, maybe getting up here and there, but a lot of people I ever talk to, they just don't move a lot. So consequently, what happens is that then they sit when they drive home and they get home and they're tired from work and they're no planned activity. And as the day goes long, responsibilities stack up and you get busier and have more things to do. So you can't just relax or lay down, or you get overwhelmed with all the things and responsibilities and you just lay down and sit down anyways and binge watch something like Ted Lasso. If you're big fans, we watched some Ted Lasso yesterday and we've been catching up on rewatching some of the season. Love that guy. Love that show. It's silly, funny, definitely adult humor. But so like you can find it. Then you go back to sleep and you've been sitting or laying around all day. Like if any of you have a step tracker, I'd love to hear. I'm a big fan of having my clients pay attention to how many steps they get in a day. This is a clear signal that helps me understand and helps them understand and recognize, like, hey, are you moving enough or are you just sitting around a lot? Because so many people, I'll say about 60% of the people I ever work with, it's focused on weight loss, but they're just not moving enough straight up from the get-go. And then we start working on squeezing more time and activity in, and things start to work really well then. So if you throw in 7 hours we spend sleeping, then that adds up to 17 hours of being sedentary. That's a problem. That's going to catch up with you. You're not going to feel great about that, especially if you've done it all week, all month, all year long, and it just adds and builds to that situation. All right. So next up is sitting properly. So let's go through some of these things. I'll say it out loud. I want you to kind of mimic the things that I say. So hands, wrist, forearms are straight in line and roughly parallel to the floor. So my camera's up, but you're going to be at a 90-degree bend in your elbow, hands forward, fingers forward, wrist forward. Head is in level and slightly bent forward, facing forward balance. So as soon as you go like this head becomes like a bowling ball, they say, right? And the more pronounced, the heavier it gets on your body and the more strain you have in your lower neck and your traps. And then all of a sudden, this spot gets all strained because it's trying to support your head that's not properly centered over the bone structure that lies there. And when in balance, holding your head up is really easy. We do it every day. As soon as you go like this, all of a sudden the musculature is now actively engaged and has to work. So we want to have it gently in line with the torso. I can't see. Give me a second. Can't see your video. It should be on. I'm just moving around. I don't know. Let me check one thing. There's no reason for my video not to be on. Maybe, does that help? Did that help at all? I don't know. I'm just moving my head around. So what I was doing was doing this. And as soon as we get the body here and up, then we're good. One really, really good. Let's see if that helped. That helps. Perfect. Okay. So maybe if I minimize that, then that shrinks the. I'm a health and health fitness health coach, not a IT expert. So they tell me go click on this link, download this thing. I can make a slideshow, I can do all this stuff, but like setting this stuff up, not that interesting to me. And knowing the actual ins and outs of the back end of Zoom is not on my to-do list. So excellent, Charles. I'm glad you see it. So going back, a key thing, if you go to any neck strain here, you're going to want the PT. If you go to physical therapist, they're going to ask you to tuck your chin in and back. So what you do is you go, so you retract the head, chin goes back. That sounds weird when I do it. And you go back. And so what that does is it allows for the neck and the posture and everything to get reset in a more natural position. So shoulders are relaxed. We want shoulders kind of up, back. We don't want this. This is not a good rounded position for ergonomics. We want this. I'll make sure see this good. All right, there we go. So we're looking for more like this, chest up. So remember, we take the head and we pull it up to get so we can be slouched, and we grab and pull that up so we'll be upright. And then even think about your chest coming up and out as well. That's a really good thing to be helpful there. Now, elbows stay close to the body. The more out they are, the more this stuff has to work. Feet are supported on the floor or a footrest. If you are too short to ride this ride, in a sense, and your knees or feet aren't flat on the ground with not tension in your muscles or joints, and your feet feel like they're hanging or dangling or something, you definitely need a footstool. All right. We want a nice feet on the ground, planted, no strain at the knee to support that, or the chair. So the chair can go up and down, or get a footstool to match. Because then if you need the chair to go up to match the level of the desk, then that's important to then have a footstool. But if the desk is lower, then maybe you don't need that. Or if you're just tall, then it's not too big of a deal then. But if you're too tall, then you might be more likely to slouch if the desk isn't proper height for you. You see all these little things start showing up. So this is where the ergonomics and understanding height to body and ratios, I'm sure there's a lot on the internet to even probably YouTube videos that go over how to do this. So exiting will allow your video to show on the top for those. All right, that means the viewers existing. All right, so hopefully I got the little full box, so hopefully that is good. I'm going to put it in the chat, hopefully to everyone. Check your chat. I'm going to put in this fantastic Amazon purchase. This is not recommended. This is not Wellable. This is me as a health coach. This is a shiatsu massager. This thing is amazing. I have broken 4 of them because I've used them so much over the years. And it's a cordless or a corded strap that goes over your shoulder. So check the chat box. I love this thing. It is an Amazon must buy. They are all sorts of different ranging price points from like $40 to $75. I don't think there's really a difference. It's probably all manufactured in the same place with different coverings, different colors, and different perceived value of this one being better than the other. So you can go in there, but check that link out. That at least gets you in front of some of these things. So if you got a lot of tight neck, shoulder issues, a shiatsu cordless, I like the cordless ones because they can travel with you. That's the next one. So if you check the web chat, someone says they got one of those. Yes, they are awesome, Nikki. I highly recommend to anyone, everyone, instant Amazon purchase. It'll be one of the best purchases you ever get. So if you just got to make sure you use it. All right. So continuing. So back fully supported, appropriate lumbar support, so that it helps fill in that little low back, and you're less likely to slump and slouch in that low back position. So let's go back to this one does a better job of demonstrating this. So see, the back is more supported through the curvature of the back. If we needed to, we could put a lumbar support thing. But you can see the elbows are tight to the body. They're in line with the desk. There's not a lot of tension. Head's in line with the monitor and subtly down in a relaxed position, and the height of the seat is proper. So knees are at the same height as the hips. So we'll go back to that. So it should be a straight line. Shouldn't be any difference. So like the person on the right in the red, they're up on their toes. That means the calves are firing, and certainly you can be fidgety and stuff, but that's something that we want to stay away from. So let's move on. Sitting properly continued. Again, same things reinforced. You just want to be constantly on this. So maybe, like in your work environment, you can just go and just do a little tap, like a 2-finger tap on the shoulder or something. And that is a clear sign of like, hey, I see you're slouching and just looking out for you. And so that might be an easy, fun way to help support each other and make sure that you literally are supported while working. Other sitting positions, so decline sitting, thighs are inclined with the buttocks higher than the knee. So your thighs are here, your butt's up here, and your knees are lower. So the angle between the thighs and the torso is greater than 90. So here's the torso, and it's be like this. Recline would be more like this, where the hips are lower than it. So proper standing position, legs, neck, torso, head, and a vertical line, a plumb line runs through your body, and that's where we would want to see you to go all the way through and make sure you stay tall. Footrest may be needed to support, so that's what I'm doing. 2 chairs can kind of shift back and forth and just kind of do my thing. It works really well. For doing prolonged standing, that can cause issues too, especially if you're not used to it. If you are new to a stand up desk, you've been seated for a while, you might be standing too much. So you'd want to have small bouts of standing until you ultimately work your way over the next couple of weeks of more standing than sitting, and all of a sudden you feel good. Blood flow also can decrease due to the length of standing, which can cause some fatigue or pain or whatnot in the legs. Alternate your time between sitting and standing, and like I said, just increase the time to standing. I stand quite a bit outside of driving. I don't really sit down. I sit when I eat, sit when I drive. I sit when I enjoy Ted Lasso watching with my wife. But other than that, I'm usually upright. I got to move. I feel good moving. So standing properly, so desk height, so same situation. We're going to want to have the arms tight into the body. The height's going to be around where that elbow positions is, so your arms naturally hang. There's no tension. You don't have to hold your arms up here. This is going to cause a lot of stress over a week or even a day or two. The keyboard's placed and the mouse close to one another, so at the same level, so you're not having to reach your knee. It should be little small adjustments to move, so everything's nice and concise and efficient for you. Monitors raised to high level, so your eye level, so you could have your monitor up and your hands down. That works really well. We don't want to have the hands down, monitor down, because then all of a sudden you're doing this, and it's more likely to have your neck pointed down and start causing more strain in that neck area. So monitor, talked about that. The lighting, Avoid a single light source because it can tire your eyes. So in offices, there's usually a pretty good light source in the office, and avoid glare because that'll cause eye strain, and that's not good ergonomics on your eyeballs. So, all right, lifting, of course, we want to use our legs, not our back. So if you ever pick something up with or around the back, you are waving your hand like, hey, back pain, come on over here. Check me out. See if you can help me with this. That's not good. So we want to use the legs, core, back is straight. We want to keep the box or whatever you're lifting close to the body. The further out it goes, the heavier it can get and be more challenging. When we squat down, we're trying to stay balanced in a good squatting position. Weights on your heels, butt's going down and back. Back is tall, and then you can lift up. So when we lift from your legs, not your back, back is just in line and hanging on for the ride. Taught a lot of people how to deadlift in my day, so we do that a lot. Setting up your workspace. Again, hopefully you've done some sort of ergonomics in your office, but if not, now's the time. So your desk surface should be allow you to place the monitor place the monitor directly in front of you at least 20 inches. Desk should be able to accommodate a variety of different working positions, sitting, standing, and such. Wrist rest to maintain straight wrist posture. You do not want the wrist going like this. This will cause problems if your wrists are flexed in a weird position. We're going to minimize contact stress while typing and with the mouse press or tapping on the tracker key. I have a trackpad, so on mine, I don't like it as much as I wish it was a little more sensitive. I probably could do some adjustments to have the click setting a little bit different than it is. It's fine. I don't use my laptop that much. Primarily just to do these webinars and touch up some slide decks or something of presentation for clients or something. Your keyboard, place your keyboard in front of you. Shoulders should be relaxed. Elbows close to the body. Wrists are straight and in line with the forearms. Your chair, backrest should be comfortable and in neutral curvature along with the spine. Adequate lumbar support. I'd probably be adding more because I like lumbar support. If I do long drives in my car, I always try and get something in the low back area to help. It just allows me to sit better. I just have more upright posture. Armrests should be soft and allow your body to actually just rest. They shouldn't be like up high and you got more, again, tension. We don't want to shorten any muscle because shortening it will cause it to tighten. Just like, say, women in high heels is a good example. If you always wear high heels around for a long time, years, then your toes are pointed down, your heels are up, and your calves are actually tightening over time, so there's less range of motion. Literally, people have had issues with calves and ankles because they shortened their Achilles tendon and tightened it up so much because of the posture of a high heel, as an example. The chair should have 5 legs with casters, so it's easy to roll and move. Your monitor, we said 20 inches, so just under 2 feet. The monitor, place the monitor top line of the screen at or below your eyes. So that's kind of where it is. Literally, if I look at the top of mine, where I'm pointing to you here, it's right at the eye level. So this setup's perfect for mine. If I had to type on it, I want obviously the keyboard lower. I'm not going to type like this with it. So monitor perpendicular to window if you can, so that you're not getting glare or reflection. 20 inches, look 20 inches away periodically to rest your eyes. So you just lift your eyes, point at something above the thing, or just look out or glance out the window and daydream a little bit. Not that you lose productivity, but just to take a break, take a rest. Working from home, laptop, workspace setup that keeps ergonomics. So ergonomics probably went out the window when people went home for COVID and quarantining, and with just remote work on the rise. So you want to make sure that you, again, go through the mechanics of setting up a proper workspace, not just lounging in your couch in a bad body posture with your laptop on your thighs and trying to work that way. At some point, it's going to catch up to you. You're going to have aches and pains that you don't really want to be dealing with. And so it would be a great place to figure out how to make sure that there's a good, suitable space for you. So if working from a laptop more than an hour, attach an external keyboard and a mouse so that you can manage and move and so that you're not glued in, because obviously everything's going to be different than everything's going to be different with a laptop because it's close. It's going to be tighter, close to, and your hand position can be in a weird spot if you're not careful. So here we go. More workplace ergonomics. So desk stretches. So here's time to engage. I hope you are ready to stretch. So everyone stand up. We're going to do some stretching. So the first thing we'll go is we're just going to hold one hand. We'll do about 5 to 8 seconds here. You're going to just gently pull back. You can definitely get the thumb tucked in there too. And then we'll switch to the other side. So do it with me, please. Stretch. You'll feel better, I promise. We can flip it around and stretch it this way. And you can rock it back and forth to help with range of motion. We'll do the other side, rocking with range of motion. We'll go to the hand, to go back to the first hand, pulling. This one's a little more awkward. It doesn't feel as good as the other. This is a flexion, whereas this is an extension of a stretch. So this is pulling and trying to stretch the top. We'll go to the other side, stretching. And then lastly, we're going to do what the picture is. So we're going to, I'm not going to put my face in the camera, but put your hands on your desk and lean into it a little bit. Just lean your shoulders forward, stretching, loosening. And even just doing that little bit, like I already feel better in my hands and grip. Seated twist. So first and foremost, do that little puppeteer thing. Let's get tall. Then we're going to rotate. You can grab on, hold, gently stretching. You're going to breathe in. And every exhale, you're going to try and get a little bit more stretch. And breathing in. And stretch some more. And we'll go to the other side. So get tall again. Deep breath in. And twist and exhale. Breathing in. And exhale. And back. So that's the seated twist. The spine is tall. The chin, you're going to lead with the chin, rotate with the shoulders, and the spine will follow. You'll feel a lot better. We have a chest stretch. So you can grab onto the side of your chair. We're going to lean forward. We're going to get tall, upright here. So big chest, shoulders expanded, arms back. You should feel it through this area. If you've been typing a lot today, this is going to feel magnificent. Feel just wonderful. Stretching. And then let's go to the next one, low back. So oftentimes when people have tight backs, they want to lean forward in this position. It's going to be up dog, which is you're like on the ground and you're just gently pushing your shoulders up off the ground like a push up from your laying on the ground. So let's bend over. Stretch, breathe. It's very important to breathe while you're doing this. So we want a deep breath in, deep breath out, deep breath in, and exhale. Every time you exhale, you can try and stretch a little bit more. Slow and sure, works really well. Slowly come back up, so we don't have to just rise up real quick. Generally, if you want to see progress happening, upwards of 2 minutes or more is going to be an ideal position to hold in that, whether it's concurrently a full 2 minute stretch, or maybe you go back from the chest stretch and lean into this one. You go chest stretch and lean in and you do like 3 minutes of each. That could really help out quite a bit there. So hamstring stretch, so you definitely have to stand up here. I'm going to put my foot up. We're going to go backs tall, have straight body, head forward. I'm just going to lean at the shoulders and the waist. Stretch to the hamstring. Another deep breath in. And then exhale. And let's switch to the other side. Deep breath in. And exhale. Deep breath in. And exhale. All right, excellent. I'm already feeling better. Higher performance, this is great for the glutes, so you can crush the leg. So I'm going to do it standing. Can do a little bit standing, seated, stretching, leaning forward. And let's go to the other side, please. Now, one leg's always generally a little more stretchy than the other. My left leg's not nearly as stretchable as my right. All right, excellent. Hopefully you're already feeling a lot better. One, you're moving. Two, you're breathing. You want to breathe in through your nose, out your mouth. You want to breathe into your stomach and not into your chest. By breathing into your stomach, you're going to pull your diaphragm down, pulling your lungs and allowing your lungs to actually expand with air rather than breathing into the chest. That's not getting a good deep breath. So let's move on. Some lateral. So we're going to go up and we're going to go to your right. So again, we want to get as tall as we can. Stretch those arms straight out and then we'll lean over, exhaling. And just breathe in. And exhale. You should feel it through the lats, the under the armpit, the low back. And we'll get tall. Breathe, deep breath in. Up, 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 up. And to the side. You didn't realize chair yoga was happening today. So breathing in. And exhale. Breathing in. And exhale. Even standing doing this, I feel a lot better already. So hopefully you participated in the stretches. You feel rejuvenated, enlightened, got some good energy flowing. So I would love to field some questions and how much ergonomics do you guys have in your workplace? Would love to hear about that. You could throw it into the chat box. If you checked out that Amazon shiatsu massager, who got one? What were some of the key postural things that you need to be doing here this next day or two to kind of reinforce good, positive body positioning? Would love to hear from you. Throw something in the Q&A. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you do have other questions beyond right now, you can certainly email wellness_services@wellable.co. So any other questions that we got, I'd love to see them. Let's see. What are your thoughts? Hold on here. Okay. What are your thoughts on having two monitors when you're looking from side to side? The same situation is that you're going to have monitors relatively close to each other. They're going to be in the same height. They're going to be same head position with the monitors about 20 inches apart. They'll just be subtly shaped inward to each other and positioned so that you're just doing this and you're not like trying to go way out and stuff. So it's important to have a tight knit. You don't want one up here and one down here on the desk or something. Like if you're doing like, say for me, I could easily do a quote sidecar with my Apple iPad or my Mac laptop, my MacBook Air. So I could position that as the side one. I would just literally try and put it right next to it so that it was in the same positioning. So hopefully that makes sense. Great question on dual monitors. Also, they've got a lot of things on Amazon or just in the marketplace on having a dual monitor setup so that you have better ergonomics with the monitors and you don't have to get all weird or up and down or slouching or any of that stuff. So excellent question. Anyone else have another question? Oh, excellent. I appreciate your time today. I thank you for coming and doing some chair yoga with me. Hope you learned a lot and got some good insights of how you too can have better posture with your body within the workspace so that you just can be, when you're working, you feel better. When you're done working, you still feel good and not all beat up from sitting in a slouch position all day, stressed out about work while your neck and body is kind of like this. You don't want to look like Igor or the Hunchback of Notre Dame or something when you leave work. Not a good situation for you. So So excellent. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Kind of left the question window open enough to get any questions you have. So appreciate you today. I'll be ending this now. So have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Recording